Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to solve our skillrack daily challenge using Python programming language. Before going to logic, if you didn't subscribe to our channel, then subscribe right now and make our work more meaningful.
Let us solve today's DC using C programming language. The program must accept the name and marks in physics, maths, physics, chemistry of 4 subjects where name is a string and the marks in 3 subjects are integer. The program must print the name and total marks of first student, and then it must print the name and total marks of first 2 students, and then it must print the name and total marks of first 3 students, and finally it must print the name and total marks of first 4 students. The program must accept name and marks in maths, physics, chemistry of 4 subjects where name is a string and the marks in 3 subjects are integer. The program must print the name and total marks of the first student, and then it must print the name and total marks of first 2 students, and in the next it must print for first 3 students. Finally, it must print for first 4 students. Now, let us consider our test case for better understanding. This is our given test case. Here we are having 4 students' name and their marks in each subject. So in the first line, we have to print the name and total marks of first student. So Hector will be printed along with the total marks will be 99 plus 80 plus 80, which is nothing but 259. Now first line is printed. So in the next line we have to print the name and total marks of first 2 students. So next we have to print for Hector and Gavin. So for Hector, and the total mark is 99 plus 80 plus 80, and for Gavin the total mark is 75 plus 75 plus 75. So the total marks for Hector is 259, and for Gavin the total mark is 225. So in the next we have to print the name and the total marks for first 3 students. So first 3 students are Hector, Gavin and Raquel. So for Hector the total mark is 99 plus 80 plus 80, and for Gavin the total mark is 75 plus 75 plus 75, and for Raquel the total mark is 80 plus 85 plus 79. So the total mark for Hector is 259, and for Gavin is 225. For Raquel it is 244. So finally we have to print the name and total marks for the first 4 students. So first 4 students means Hector, Gavin, Raquel and Oliver. So we have to print the marks for first 4 students. So Hector, the total mark will be 99 plus 80 plus 80, and for Gavin 75 plus 75 plus 75. For Raquel, 80 plus 85 plus 79. +80 plus 85 plus 79. And finally for Oliver, 89 plus 81 plus 90. So the total mark for Hector is 259, and for Kevin it is 225, Raquel 244, and finally for Oliver 260. So this will be printed as our required output. So our logic is we have to implement a function in C so that the program runs successfully. Now let us implement our logic using C programming language. This is our given code. So these are the required header files, and we are having a structure named student. Inside the structure we are having char name and integer subjects, that is maths, physics and chemistry. And in the main function we are declaring the students for the structure, and in scanf we are getting the student name and their marks in maths, physics and chemistry for all the 4 students. And after scanning the input, we are passing the required arguments to print the required output. So here 1 represents the number of students, and student 1 represents the student name and the marks scored in each subject. So here 2 students, and student 1 and student 2 is passed. So we have to declare this function printStudents. One comma student 1, and in the next line 2 comma, here we are passing 2 students, so student 1 comma student 2, and for 3 here 3 students, 4 students, so on. So let us declare this function. So this function is of void type because it returns nothing, it only prints. So void printStudents of argument int n comma, and we don't know the how many students we are passing, so int n represents number of students, and for this we can use Eclipse here. So 3 dots, Eclipse is nothing but 3 dots. So inside this function for using Eclipse we have to use a variable called valist. So let us declare it. So valist of valist comma, we have to declare this valist for using Eclipse. So after declaring the valist, we have to write var start, which is the starting of valist comma n, and after declaring the var start, it starts from the valist. So next, in order to get the structure, we have to use for loop. So for index equal to 0, index less than n, index plus plus, student of a temp which is equal to, that is we are going to get the structure from the valist. So let us get the structure. So struct student here we are passing 4 students, student 2, student 3 and student 4. So in order to get the structure from the students, we are using for loop here. So struct, sorry, you have to use student here, student temp, which is equal to, here struct is not needed, student temp, which is equal to, you have to pass the argument, so arg of invalist comma student. So valist, and we are getting values from the structures called student. Now by using printf, we have to print our output. So printf modulo s space modulo d bar n. So modulo s is nothing but it represents the string. So you have to print the name, so temp dot name. So in order to use the objects in the structure, we will be using dot, so temp dot name, and modulo d is nothing but it represents the total marks of 3 subjects. So temp dot max plus temp dot physics plus temp dot chemistry. So this will print the total marks secured in all the 3 subjects by the student. So this for loop runs, and at the end of this for loop you have to end the valist. So y end of valist. So this is our required function to get the required output.